Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Triumph Review, but it's not active Triumph, so who really cares anyways? Today we are going to be looking at the Tangled Shore and Season of the Hunt Triumphs, and we're going to be starting out with the Tangled Shore in Baron Hunts. This is really all just doing the Forsaken campaign. It's just a lot of free Triumph score, and they give you quite a bit for it, 50 points per. Then we have the challenges section. These are just kind of like grindy things to do in the Tangled Shore. I remember hunting down Scorn Pikes was kind of a pain. I know there was strategies with getting people in a fire team and going into the Warden of Nothing strike to get this done. I don't quite remember how I did this, but I do remember grinding this one in one of the lost sectors close to Spider, not the nightclub one, but the other one, which I'm blanking on the name right now. But that one spawns a lot of Ravagers, and so that was really the strat for grinding this out. And if I remember correctly, this was like 1,000 of these, or maybe 500 or so. It was a lot to grind out, and it was just sort of weird. Then we have Ether Ore. This is another one where you just kind of grind it out if you don't have it already. You know, you find a lost sector or somewhere where there's a lot of chieftains who will spawn these and whatnot. Yeah, these challenges are kind of odd. They don't really have these on other destinations, and I mean, you know me, usually I like the small little challenges, but I don't like them when they're super grindy. Granted, this is nowhere near as grindy as like the 500 waves of altar stuff, so you know, it's okay, and it does give you quite a bit of score. It's a little bit odd to have these. Next up we have strikes, and this is special. Each of the strikes have 2 challenges instead of just one. One of them for each of them has to be completed specifically in the Nightfall, and the other one can be completed on any difficulty. Not necessarily Nightfall, just like the regular strike. So we have Warden of Nothing and Hollowed Lair, and their respective scores. Broodhold is not on here for whatever reason. Now, the Warden of Nothing ones are really interesting because they have duplicates of these. If we go to the Legends section, yeah, right here. The same exact triumph, same challenges and everything. And I'm not quite certain of this, but I could have sworn I had to get these twice. I think when they sunset the Tangled Shore, they moved these triumphs over here, and you might have had to re-get them. I know I just got this one, I think, a few weeks ago. I can't remember if it was during this episode or during Season of the Witch that it was in the rotation, but I did get this one relatively recently, and I could have sworn that was my second time doing it, but maybe I'm just going insane. Either way though, this one is a pretty cool challenge. It's not hard to do. You just plop down a well, and you're all good. Just sit in the fire, don't kill the boss all at once. This one is the complete opposite. You want to melt the boss as soon as possible. If not, you'll have to hide behind cover to not take solar damage. I'm not sure if putting a bubble down works here, but you know, I wouldn't take chances. I would just melt the boss. The boss falls over. You know, you just do this in the lowest difficulty for the Nightfall. Then for Hollowed Lair, we have this challenge, which was during the section where you have to, I believe, sink both the plates and take out a few waves of Scorn to open a door. This one's not too bad as long as you have just a little bit of coordination in your team. You could have probably even have just done this like with randoms, just coincidentally. And then we have this one, completing it without taking any arc damage. This one was a little bit tricky. You really had to watch where you were going, because I believe the final boss was the only enemy in that room who dealt arc damage. He had like the arc sort of pools that he would spawn or whatever. So you just had to watch your step, really. Then, of course, we have the classic do all the lost sectors and bounties. They did have one lost sector on there that went up in difficulty. I believe this was the nightclub one. I kind of missed that. It was a fun little lost sector, just kind of goofy. You could probably still find the songs from there online, which is kind of funny. But yeah, this one was pretty easy. Then, of course, completing public events, and Ether Harvest was a new public event at the time, so they decided to throw that in there. Then I believe this one is the public event that could spawn close to Spider, where that a cryopod falls, and there's an escapee inside, and you have to trigger it and make it heroic and whatever. So this one was not too hard. It's a free 40 triumph score. Moving on, we have Season of the Hunt. Now, this was the one that came out with Beyond Light. If I remember correctly, I took a small break during the Dawning, which is why I don't have really any of the Dawning triumphs except for this one. But overall, this season, it was kind of meh. The weapons were, like, fine. I think we got the first wave frame grenade launcher, which was kind of cool. But the activities, the Wrathborn hunts were so boring and just meh. The storyline was at least kind of okay. You know, we have Crow coming into the picture, and the Hawkmoon mission was definitely a standout. But anyways, this quest section, you know, it's literally just do the story for the season. Over in activities, we have just doing the tier 2 Wrathborn hunts in the Tangled Shore and the Dreaming City, and then defeating some of the Wrathborn with specific weapons. They did this because these were sort of the weapons that were like seasonal weapons. You know, we had a seasonal grenade launcher and a linear fusion. I do remember that. I'm not quite sure about the machine gun and the sword though. Then we have gear. We have seen these return time and time again throughout seasons, defeating Wrathborn while wearing pieces of the seasonal armor, Fallen or Hive with seasonal armor, you know, seasonal weapon defeats, stuff like that. Bosses with seasonal weapons, you know, they went a little bit beyond kind of the norm for this one, but yeah, we have seen this come up recently. I know, like, Season of the Wish and Season of the Witch and that whole year of seasons, we had, you know, getting defeats with seasonal weapons, and I think that was about the extent of it. I don't even know if they put in the armor ones for those. So yeah, they definitely went a little bit beyond here, but overall, not too difficult. You know, it gives you a reason to kind of play around with the seasonal weapons, even if they're kind of trash. So that's kind of cool, at least, you know, letting you play around with stuff that you normally wouldn't. All right, one of the only triumphs I'm missing for Season of the Hunt is the power bonus. I did not quite get there just because I took that break that I was talking about earlier. I did hit Season Pass 100 though, and I believe this is the quest for the Adored Sniper Rifle. They did not have the system that they have now back in the day, if I remember correctly. This was still somewhere between the old pinnacle weapons like Mountaintop and Recluse and current ritual weapons, which is just rank up. They had kind of this gray area at a point, and that's where Adored fit in there. Then we have the exotic quest, which is, of course, the Hawkmoon quest with the Harbinger activity. Now, as you can see, I do have all of these except for this one, which is really interesting. Complete the Harbinger activities 3, 5, and 10 times. Now, I have my dungeon report pulled up here where you can see I do have 17 clears of Harbinger. So I'm not totally sure why I don't have this triumph. Just kind of weird, you know, I really don't understand it. But anyways, most of this you will get just by completing the whole quest line and getting Hawkmoon. Then they do have doing it flawless, doing it solo, and solo flawless. The solo flawless did take me quite some time. It took a few tries. I think I ended up doing it on Titan, maybe like Solar Titan or something. But it wasn't too bad. 15 minutes or less, you know, fire team of 3, that's not a huge challenge. And then completing it while you're in a fire team where everybody has Hawkmoon equipped. You know, loadout restrictions, I have mixed opinions on them, but this is an exotic mission. It wasn't difficult, and Hawkmoon was actually pretty good at the time. Then we have just some collectibles, finding all the Feathers of Light in a single week, and then lore book entries for Tangled Web. Now, Season of the Hunt, they divvied up Strikes, Gambit, and Crucible, and Trials. Interestingly, you know, these days, like if I go to episode Echoes, this is all kind of just put into the general category, but back in the day, I guess they used to split it up a little more. Obviously, I don't have the Trials ones because Trials is garbage. I have most of the Crucible ones. I didn't really do a lot of comp back in the day. I did some, but not enough to get this Legend one. You have some Iron Banner stuff, and then these two quests here. The Rubicund Wrap quest was for the Crucible ornament for Adored. Again, back in the day, they had a different system, so instead of just ranking up with the vendor to get the ornament, you actually had to do a separate quest for it once you actually get the weapon. And then Slaying Dragons was the Iron Banner quest they had. They used to do these back in the day. They don't really do them anymore. And for Gambit, we have the Snakeskin Wrap quest, which is, you know, similar to Crucible. Completing bounties and earning ranks, and then just playing Gambit, I guess. You know, I guess I didn't play a ton of Gambit during Season of the Hunt. And then we have Strikes, which is interesting. You know, they have increasing your rank and getting the ornament and whatever. But then, basically, they have the Grandmaster title for this season in the actual seasonal triumphs, which is interesting because Season of the Hunt had its own Grandmaster title, right? Back when they first did these, they separated them. Season 12 with Season of the Hunt, and it all matches. The exception, interestingly, is Broodhold. Broodhold is only needed for the Conqueror title. It's not actually in the triumphs here. All right, if we go here, they have Glasswhite, Exodus Crash, Scarlet Keep, Inverted Spire, Disgraced, and then just Nightfalls. There is no Broodhold. So I don't know what their deal is with excluding Broodhold. If I remember correctly, Broodhold was a PlayStation exclusive strike up until Beyond Light or around that time. Yes, I just double checked that and I am correct. It was a PlayStation exclusive strike. So that, I'm guessing that's the reason why it got excluded so much. But then again, like, when Season of the Hunt came out, it has to have been on PC and Xbox and whatever other platforms in order to get the Grandmaster title. So I really don't understand the reasoning for this. And then the last things we're going to talk about for this video are going to be this Conqueror title and also the Warden title as well. Back in the day, GMs were nothing like they are now. I actually didn't do Grandmasters back in the day, but I remember seeing videos, you know, it generally took people like half an hour to do them and whatnot. If I remember correctly, Glassway was an absolute nightmare because it was the new one at the time. I think it was like more difficult than the Corrupted or whatever. And some people can still even find it challenging today. It's really just the boss room that's hard. Scarlet Keep, I remember, also caused some difficulty, as well as Broodhold, just because you're kind of in a claustrophobic setting for Broodhold. It's hard to get away from your enemies sometimes and play back and play safe like most people did in Grandmasters. But I think Exodus, Disgraced, and Inverted Spire were all like ones that people had done before. These were kind of the easier ones in the title. Finally, we have the Warden title, and this thing is literally free. The only even remotely difficult challenge would be this one, just completing Harbinger while everyone has Hawkmoon on. So I don't quite know why they made this one so easy. You know, they definitely could have thrown in a couple more challenges. For what triumphs they had to work with to put in for this title, I think they did an okay job, but I would have liked to have seen some more like niche challenges just for the Season of the Hunt triumphs in general, and especially going into the title. In terms of the name, Warden, meh, it's kind of eh. I would never run this title personally, but it gets rarer every day, so that's kind of a thing. You know, if you have it, it's a bit of a flex, I guess. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you for listening to my opinions, and I will see you later. Bye.